I don't know if I'm the only one in this whole thing, but I've been thinking about this lately. I think about this sometimes in my life, sometimes, and then sometimes I don't. It's kind of funny actually. But you know that trend that came out like what, 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago? I think it was 2 years ago. I could be wrong. Where women would ask their boyfriends or husbands or whatever, they'd ask them how often do they think about the Roman Empire, and then their husbands or boyfriends are like, often, like, first of all, they say like once a week or once every 2 days or something. I'm like, how do you know that specific number? Yeah, I don't know. That was a funny one too. I'm like, you don't say just like once in a while, you just say once every other day. Like, what do you mean every other day? How do you know how much you think about it? When I think about stuff like that, I don't even think about how many times I think about it. Like, what? That's kind of hard to explain. The point is, men think about the Roman Empire a lot, and that's cool. I think that's pretty cool. And because I'm a woman and I do that. All right, so that's what I'm talking about today. I'm a woman who thinks about the Roman Empire. I'm starting to right now, but here's another thing. I'm starting to think more about ancient civilizations in general right now. So that one other video I made, talking about how people in ancient civilizations weren't like human like us. They seemed more godlike, in my opinion. They just seemed not real because they were all the way back then. And so I'm thinking more about that too. I'm not just thinking about the Roman Empire, but also like the Babylonian Empire or like the Egyptian Empire, like the ancient civilizations basically. And I've even gone on Copilot and just asked it questions about stuff like that. I made sure to get historical sources. I'm like, cite sources for me, Copilot. But yeah. And but yeah, I'm starting to think about the Roman Empire like right now, as of right now. And it's like I like to compare it to my country right now, the US, too. That's another thing I like doing. And yeah, so I'm just wondering, like, do women not think about it as much? I've heard that women's version of the Roman Empire to them is the Victorian era. So they think about the Victorian era, that's their version. Which I've thought about that too. Because I like reading classic books that take place during the Victorian era. So I have had that before too, where I'll look up, where I'll think about the Victorian era. But for the most part, though, I'm intrigued with Roman history, mostly because of Latin, the language. So I was in a play. This is where the Latin obsession kind of started. So or I was in this play. It was The Hunchback of Notre Dame. It was a play, and I had to sing a bunch of songs in Latin. Now, at the time, I didn't realize there were different types of Latin. Like, there's difference between Roman Latin and Church Latin, and Church Latin was the Latin we sung in. And so I thought that was the original Roman kind, but then I realized, no, that's the Roman Catholic kind. How is the difference? But yeah, so that's where I first learned about Latin, and at first I was like, I don't want to sing in this language. Are you kidding me? I don't speak a different language. I just speak English. Like, we're gonna sing in what? Because a whole entire song was sung in Latin. I'm like, what? I never learned this. How am I supposed to sing? But it actually went really well, and I ended up falling in love with the language. So I started learning about Latin more, like the history of it, and I found out that there's a difference between Church Latin and Roman Latin, so that was cool. And there are other kinds. There's like Vulgar Latin, there's Medieval Latin, so now I'm kind of confused. Sometimes I get a little confused with certain things, but yeah. So I was just like, it was fun to learn about that. And so mostly I'm attracted to the Roman Empire because of Latin. It's just so cool. Like, you look at the inscriptions and you're just like, hey, that word looks familiar, or oh, I know this alphabet is ours that we use right now, and it's like it's pretty cool to look at that. So yeah, so that's where it all started. So over time I started to get more interested in the Roman Empire just because they spoke Latin, which they also spoke Greek, but I didn't really think about that. But now I'm just like thinking about it now. At least right now, as of right now, I am. And I'll like watch videos on like Roman history. Like, there's this one video by Chat History called "You Wouldn't Survive the Roman Empire" or something. That was a funny video to watch. See, it's kind of weird. It's like I'm both fascinated by it, but I'm also like appalled by it because, there was slavery back then, and you know, it's like, how are these people alive? Because of all they had, well, no, because they did have. I learned about that they had really good ways of like sanitation. They were good at that. They were good at dentistry, things like that. I kind of forgot. I looked this up a while ago. I kind of can't remember too much, but I did remember learning stuff about it. But still, it's just like, how are people back then still alive? Like, how do they manage to do it? Because nowadays we have everything like perfectly. I feel like we're like the most perfect right now. Not perfect, but like, the modern world, at least the modern West that has technology. It's like, wow, we have all this stuff that we're living like queens and kings right now, I tell you. Like back then, like we live in a globalized world. Like, you know how OP that is? Like, dude, no way. But yeah, but it's still fun to look back on ancient times and to look at like what people did, what the customs were. And yeah, so it's just really cool. So I have right now I'm just getting intrigued with this right now. I'm not sure if it's because the Odyssey is coming out, which is ancient Greece, but the Odyssey came out and I think I'm starting to get more interested in like ancient stuff. So I don't have the book The Odyssey, but I have the book I think it's pronounced. I could pronounce that wrong. By Virgil. I have that book and I'm thinking about reading it. I'm gonna start it tomorrow. And yeah, so I think that's gonna be interesting. But I gotta look up the context for it because I want to make sure I know what's happening. So that means I'm gonna look into Roman history and learn about it more. And yeah, so can't wait to read it. But yeah, like women out there, are you thinking about this? Like, are other women thinking about this? I know it's like a men's thing to think about it. They're probably still thinking about it right now. I bet it was a really cool trend. I'll say because like trends like I mentioned this in a previous video. Trends are always negative. They focus on bad things. They focus on things that are fleeting, that'll be here one day and then gone the next, like memes, certain memes. And trends come and go, but I like the trends that have to do with smart things, like the Roman Empire, for instance. So that's a good one. That's a cool one. I wish the trend was still going, but I'm sure people are still thinking about it. I've watched I watched this. There's this YouTube channel called Nick Freitas. Nick Freitas. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but I watch his stuff, and he has two videos on his channel, literally going into the entire history of Rome. So not just the empire, but also the republic and the kingdoms and just everything. And I'm like, I watched both of those. I was intrigued. So now I'm thinking to myself, am I the only woman watching this? But I mean, that's not true. Of course there are. But I just know the number of men watching that outweighs the number of women. I just know it. But I encourage women right now, like, just go and look into it. If you're intrigued, just look into it. And if you're intrigued about the Victorian era, all right, look into that too. But yeah, like look into this more. I think it's pretty cool. I feel like I'm the only one who thinks about it. I don't know. I'm not sure. It just feels, but like no one. You really expect me to go to like work or something? People are gonna be talking about it? No, of course not. No one's gonna be talking about it because like they just talk about what goes on during the day. But I wish more women would talk about this. That'd be cool. Because every history channel that talks about Roman history is usually men, which is nothing wrong with that. Because I'll learn stuff from that. But it's like I wish women would step up. Come on, guys, step up and make history channel videos. Come on, what are you doing? I guess it's not their forte for some reason. Anyway, but yeah, like I don't know. I wish I knew like if other women think about this, but they're not. So I don't know. So I feel like I'm a man. What does that even mean? I'm not saying I'm a man, guys. All right, calm down. Of course not. God created me as a woman. Hello. But it's just like I feel like I'm a man because because men think about Rome all the time, and I do too. But I'm not a man. It's like, is this an anomaly or something? Nah, I'm kidding. But yeah, it's like I don't know. I wish I knew that if more women were thinking about it, but they don't. So anyway, those just my thoughts there. It's really intriguing to look at. I don't know. It just is. And I'm reading more parts of the Bible that have to do with like Rome because like Paul when he was in Acts. Paul, the book of Acts takes place in Rome at some parts, like Paul. Like Paul was a Roman citizen too, which is another interesting, cool fact. I remember reading that. I was like, wow, that's so cool. Like back then when I was a kid, I never even read the Bible. I just said I believe in Jesus and I'm saved, and that's a heresy. But now I'm just looking at the Bible. It's like it's so cool. And you know what's even cooler? It takes place during the Roman Empire. That's when Jesus was walking the earth. And he came in the fullness of time, which means that the Roman Empire, I guess, meant the fullness of time. That's one of the reasons. I won't go into that too much, but yeah, it was just so cool. So now I'm just like, man, now when I watch uh movies about Jesus, I'll think, wow, this is in the Roman Empire. That's so cool. Yeah. Just so I wish women would think about it. I wish they would talk about it. Man, I wish. Because then I won't feel alone. I mean, there's nothing wrong with men talking about it. I'm glad this was a trend amongst men. I'm so glad. That was a cool trend. The only thing is that we need to have a trend now. There needs to be a trend where women talk about it. That would be even better. So that'd be good. Or there could be a trend where the opposite, like where men they'll ask their wives or girlfriends, what do you think about often? They better not say stuff like, my nails. They better not. Ooh, I'll be so mad. But yeah, we're not gonna go down that road, all right? All right. So yeah, like women out there, do you think about the Roman Empire often? See, I do and I don't. It like comes and it goes and it comes back and then it goes. So that's fine with me. That's pretty cool. So yeah, I feel alone in this. Like I wish that people would think about this, or at least women would. I'm glad men do. Good for you. Keep thinking about it. Keep learning, because learning is a good thing and it expands your brain. And women, this you too. Like just look into it. You know. See, but for me, it came naturally because for women, their interests come naturally too, and for men, their interests come naturally. And mine just so happened to be the Roman Empire, just like other things come naturally, like other interests, like reading uh, or learning languages. You know, I like doing that too. So I don't know. I wish that women would think about it more though, or think about it at all. So hopefully I should just look it up really and see, because I'm sure there are women out there who do that. But yeah, so that's all I'm gonna say. I wanted to have a fun little rant. I want to get this out there and share it with people. So yeah, so that's all I'm gonna say. Peace out. See you next time. Look into history, even if it's not the Roman Empire. Look into history. It's always cool. All right, peace out.